this work. There it is.
There it is.
What was it?
We're not going to talk about it.
Okay, we'll talk about it later. Good morning, everyone. You're listening to Adrianna in the AM on WJOB 1230 AM, 104.7 FM in Hammond, Indiana. And you're also watching live here on YouTube. It wouldn't be a show without some technical difficulties. That's how you know it's raw and authentic.
A show specifically with just the two of us, I feel like it always goes wrong. When there's nobody else in the studio.
You know what? It's okay. That's how you know that we got to do the show more often so that way we don't have any more technical difficulties.
Yeah, throwing us out of a funk. We're here like every other month at this point.
Yeah, basically. But that's just because we're giving the big people jobs and we're just like, okay, you got to do this, this, this. Then you maybe can host every now and then. Like, okay. But we are going to do some traffic and weather just to get things going. We're only here for about an hour, but that's okay because we got a lot to say within 1 hour. So taking a look at traffic. Traffic in the Northwest region is actually looking pretty good. 65 going north and south is looking good. 80 going east and west. I just zoomed straight into Lake Michigan. That's great. 80 going east and west is looking good. 90 going east and west is looking good. Chicago Skyway is looking good. Bishop Ford, Dan Ryan is all looking good. You may have a little bit of traffic right there as you're going down the Bishop Ford right at 35th Street going west. You may have a bit of traffic there. Taking a look at the Stevenson Expressway going north, we have a bit of traffic at Cicero Avenue. Going south, it's looking pretty good. Eisenhower going east is looking a bit heavy right there at 25th Avenue. Going west is looking pretty good. And as you head up into the airport area by Rosemont, maybe a little bit of traffic going on 90 going east and west, right up by the Rosemont area, but nothing too crazy. That's all I got for traffic. What you got for weather?
Okay, for weather. Oh, also, there were some bad drivers out this morning. I don't know if you realized while I was driving. I took down some license plate. I don't know if I should air them out on air, but I took them down just in case I ever get to that point where I'm angry enough to just yell their license plate on air.
They cut you off or something?
Yes, they'll cut you off and then they'll slow down. Have you ever?
Oh, they try to brake check you?
No, not even. They'll be like tailing somebody in the right lane, and I'm coming up in the left lane. I'll see them, and I'm like, oh, they should move over now, like while I'm still coming up. And then they'll wait till I get there, cut me off, and then not pass the person next to them that they were just tailing. And I'm like, oh, that one really gets me. But anyways, it's April 23rd, and an ad just popped up on here. So give me 1 second.
It's been doing that recently. I'm like, okay, I'm so ready for weather. And they're like, no, you're not.
I've had this app up for like 3 minutes. But anyways, it's Thursday, April 23rd, and we're going to have a high of 82 and a low of 62. It's going to be really warm, a lot of sunshine, a little breezy in the afternoon, but really nothing to worry about. Friday, however, you're going to get some thunderstorms early in the morning, some showers early in the morning, and then some thunderstorms later in the afternoon. Otherwise, it's going to be a high of 73 and a low of 47. And then the weekend's going to be a high of 56 with lots of sun. And then Sunday is going to be much of the same, but the temperature will go up with a real feel of 72 and a high of 68. So there's your your weather. Sorry.
There we go. So I got a list and range of topics that we are going to talk about today. But one of the things that, before we get into the kind of national aspects of it, there's a lot of stuff happening in the region, happening today and later on in the month. And the next time that we are on, we do have a really cool interview, and I'm going to see if I can use this interview to the extent of my possibilities, because it is going to be with Paws and Pints. I know that was it. No, that was, stop looking at me like I'm crazy. That was the event that you're like, I'm so there. It was, it's an event on May 31st, and it is for the shelter animals. So basically, puppies and beer.
I am there.
Yeah.
You're right, I am there.
Yeah, you were looking at me like I was crazy. You're like, what is Paws and Pints? I was like, no, they're going to come in, and I'm going to honestly be like, do you guys have any dogs that are
Bring in some
trained?
dogs.
And
I don't even have to be trained, dude. If they have an accident, I'll clean it up. Just don't pee on any cords.
all of the electrical wiring over here, just don't go near that. Don't chew that.
Don't chew that. I've actually thought about bringing my dog in a couple times, but I'm like, maybe not.
So that will be the next time that we are on. I believe we are on May 14th. That is a Thursday. So that will be one of the events that we will be covering. But the first one that we are going to cover, before we get into just a really cool things happening in the region that I found on TikTok, and then I saw that the Times had covered it, and it's about this lady and lemon rice soup, and she's trying to find the best lemon rice soup in the region, and that's just her goal. But one of the topics that we are going to go over, there's a fundraiser happening today, and they had just emailed me yesterday about it, and they're asking, hey, can you promote this? And I was like, well, yeah, of course. It's one of the more well-known burger places in Northwest Indiana, and it's for Shoop's Hamburgers. Have you ever?
I've had Shoop's a handful of times.
Yeah.
Not too much recently, but
Yeah. There is a fundraiser happening. So this is for today, Thursday, April 23rd from 11 to 8. The location is 3905 on 45th Street in Highland. A portion of all dine-in and carry-outs will go directly to Camp Millhouse. And this is an overnight summer camp for kids and adults with special needs. They welcome everyone to join us in delicious food, family fun, day and night, and the knowledge that dining supports the terrific cause. You can also catch a glimpse, and this is you gotta check out their Facebook page, because I was reading this, I was like, what are you guys talking about? They said you can also catch a glimpse of Hulk Hogan, who had an adventure last week, and check out Highland Shoop's Facebook page for the details of the drama. We will see you, all of our friends and supporters, at Shoop's Highland today. So again, that is today from 11 to 8. Grab a burger, grab some fries, support a very good cause, and definitely I'm like, well, I know what I'm eating for lunch.
Isn't Hulk Hogan dead?
Yeah, so I don't know. Well, you know how sometimes in certain
racist.
You know how sometimes in certain Shoops they have like the cardboard cutouts of celebrities?
Yeah. Oh, okay. So
yeah.
He's going to have a Shoop's hamburger.
Yeah,
like
maybe. You never know. But I will say, once I saw that, I was like, yep, that's what we're looking at right there, which is pretty cool. Another thing that we are going to cover is, if I have the tab up, I do not, but it is another event that's happening on Mother's Day. And we talked about this a little bit on Phil Potempa show of Notoriety. They came in, I believe, in February. And this is for the event Listen to Your Mother. They had asked us to promote this before May 3rd. So that is the day of the event. Listen to Your Mother is a show. It is a live local storytelling event celebrating motherhood in all of its forms, being a mom, having one, losing one, or finding one, featuring a diverse collection of true personal stories read by local writers and performers, aiming to create community, connection, and shared understanding through humor, heart, and honesty. These shows are often produced around Mother's Day, benefit local charities, and build sense of togetherness by showcasing the messy, beautiful, and complex realities of mothering. And this is a ticketed event. I do not know if it is sold out just yet, but when they were talking about it, the first time that they were on the air, they were saying how this event sells out very, very fast. And I remember when I was looking at all the detailing for it, it looks like a really cool show, something that is very heartwarming, and something that So, honestly, I feel like if I took my mother to this, she'd start crying. She'd be like, oh my gosh, look at all these things. So, definitely check that out. Again, that is Sunday, May 3rd. This is at 230 Main Street in Hobart, Indiana, and all ages, and it is at 3 p.m. So, that is another event. And one of the biggest sponsors that they benefit is Meals on Wheels of Northwest Indiana. So those are the events that we are promoting, and we'll probably say those again near the end of the program, right before we have North Township trustees, and they're going to be a little bit earlier today at 7:15, because at 8 o'clock, I'm sorry, 7:45, I forget they are a 30-minute show. At 7:45, we have two of our political programming happening. I almost said initiatives, but I don't think that's the correct terminology for those. At 7:45, we are going to have Jason Gore and Steve Flores, the two candidates running for sheriff. And I know that when I was listening yesterday to the show, when Jim and McDermott were here, they were like, this is the nicest political race ever. And I was like, wait. And I'm like, yeah, you're kind of right. I haven't heard them like bash each other.
I was gonna say maybe we're gonna get it like a fight or something, a political fight, an argument in office. Yeah, one sheriff to another, just boom.
Yeah, but they're right. This is like the nicest political race I've seen. I haven't heard anything bad, and I've just heard like good things about each candidate. They're just really nice to each other.
Well, there you go. That's what happens when you preach your beliefs instead of just arguing about what the other person is doing wrong.
Yeah, this is what world peace is supposed to feel like.
But it's just our local sheriffs.
Yep, there you go.
It's got to start somewhere, though.
Yes, and speaking of stuff happening local, this lemon rice soup lady. So the NWI Times did a story on this, and if you want to read it, it's actually kind of cool. It says, "Starting the pot: one woman's quest for the best lemon rice soup in Northwest Indiana." Now, this is Caitlin Holly, the lemon rice soup retailer, and she is sitting down in different places, tasting and reviewing lemon rice soup. She does this on her social media pages, and she taste tests different ones in between her retail appointments. So after she's going to go sell a house, or like in between, she's like, go get some lemon rice soup. And she's trying like all different places, and not just like mainstream areas that you would get lemon rice soup, like all the different diners. There's some where it's like, oh yeah, this bar sells lemon rice soup, let me go try it there. I was like, okay, I didn't even know they had that. In my family, they feel the best lemon rice soup is at the Wheel, right here on Indianapolis Boulevard.
Does the barrel have anything? Does the barrel have their variation of lemon rice soup?
Nope.
I thought
chicken or vegetable.
Oh, okay. Now I've never had lemon rice soup.
Really?
Nope.
I feel that's a really big staple, especially like within just the diners in the region, because that's any time, and it doesn't matter if I'm out with family or if I'm with friends. Every time it's like, what would you like? Lemon rice soup, please. But yeah, anybody want to call in 219-845-1100 and or wanted to put in the chat where you feel the best lemon rice soup is at, because this woman, she is on a mission to find the best one. She said that she had tried, as I'm like reading through the different things, that first one that was up is, she said she was there to taste test lemon rice soup at Theo's Steakhouse in Highland, which drawn a critical acclaim from the region soup staple, and she's already reviewed dozens of soup around the region, and her list includes 60 more, well over 100 places that sometimes has flagged as the place that has lemon rice soup or boast about their lemon rice soup that is the best. So yeah, she's like here on her TikTok, it makes them like with all the different captions. She puts like a lot of effort into this. So if you ever want to just follow her on her journey, I feel this is kind of like a really cool thing to do. And yeah, she's saying that lemon rice soup is a very niche to our area. And she grew up eating it at the Wheel. And when the Commander was still there, I think it's like Honey Jam, something like that right now. They had sold, and I believe they sold, and they kind of revamped their area. But when the Commander was there, a lot of people said that that was the best lemon rice soup as well. So anybody want to call in? And I'm seeing that we have some people who are who are looking at their lemon rice soup. They said that I don't know how to say that. Don Delphi's in Lowell has the best lemon rice soup. No Munster Donut in the food fight. No Munster Donut in the studio. Wheel is the best. Yep. That's the thing with my family. Anytime I go to the Wheel, I'm not a big soup eater because I just won't actually eat my actual food. So I always get soup to go, and I always get lemon rice soup because at least within the 3 people, including me in my house, 4, with those 3 people, somebody's going to eat it before like 5 hours hits. Someone's going to snatch out the thing. I'm like, oh yeah, there's soup in the fridge. It's first come, first serve. They start to fight over that, and I'm just like, yeah. So then it's like they have me, my parents have me on like my little Life 360, and they're just like, are you at the Wheel? It's like, yeah. They're like, can you get lemon rice soup? So they feel that's the best one. So we'll see as this lady goes on her journey and taste tests all of the soups in the region. We'll see which one she comes to a thing. She did say, the one video that I looked at, she went to Top Notch there in Highland, and she gave it a 5 out of 10. So she has a whole like list of things that she goes through, and I was like, oh, okay.
She's a harsh judge.
She's a harsh judge, but hey, if you got really good lemon rice soup, go find her on TikTok and be like, I need you, come try this lemon rice soup.
I was gonna say the only time I've ever heard of lemon rice soup is on Round the Clock. I didn't
Round the
realize
clock.
that it was such a local
Yeah, that is
dish.
a very popular thing here for Northwest Indiana. Again, with some of our region local stories, BP union remains divided over terms of returning to the bargaining table. We've been hearing a lot about BP and the different lockouts happening with BP and with NIPSCO. And BP says that it will not end the lockout, and it is keeping more than 800 oil workers without pay at the BP Whiting refinery until workers agree to a new contract. The United States here we go. The United Steelworkers Union Local 71 says it will return to the bargaining table after the lockout is lifted and under a rolling extension of the old contract. Plant manager Chris Delafranco says in a video to update workers Thursday that BP was ready to return to the bargaining table. And here's a quote that we have from them. Our goal in these negotiations is to enhance safety and reliability by improving training and qualifications while maintaining fairness to our employees, he says. Since my last update, we have reached out to the union twice to resume bargaining, and we have yet to receive a formal response. We are ready to resume bargaining. So we also got a caller, so we are going to go to the phone lines. But yeah, with BP happening this lockout, I hope this lockout ends very soon and that these workers get the terms and conditions that feel fair to them. So we're going to go to phone lines. Good morning, caller. You are on the air. What is on your mind?
It is not lemon rice soup. It's a cup of coffee sitting here that I don't knock over and spill on the table, you know. Lemon rice soup. But, when I take my students out to Portage to get tested, I always go over to Rosewood over there and eat.
Mm-hmm.
And if I get a certain meal, soup and salad comes with it, and they'll always name off the soup, and it seems like everywhere, I've tried to eat lemon rice soup, and I'm thinking, okay, rice is for, Chinese. Lemon is to put on my fish when I get fish. So I tried eating that lemon rice, but over at Rosewood on Fridays, because it's Fish Fridays and stuff, that's the only day they have it, but clam chowder soup. If you ever want a good bowl of clam chowder soup, oh my gosh, that place over there, I only get the meal to eat the soup, it's different. But, there's a place that I go for me and my wife to get something certain times, and if you get a dinner, they always put lemon rice in there, and my wife will eat it. I won't, it's just like, I tried it, and it's like, well, just give me the lemon or just give me the rice,
You don't want both?
But no, not together. Put it this, basically, you eat a burger and you eat fries, it goes in one mouth, all that goes in one mouth, and it comes out somewhere, but I just can't, But, I had, it's amazing. Like this morning, I'm sitting up, and Tuesday I had that surgery on my right eye, and he told me it was going to be a little fuzzy and everything. And yesterday, I had to go to follow up, and then after that, I came home. But unbelievable! I'm sitting here. I usually have to put my glasses on to look at my laptop. I'm sitting here just normal in my chair, looking at my laptop. I can see the writing clear as a day without my glasses. It's now in May they'll do the other one, but that surgery was different. It's been a long time since I've had a surgery. They say, oh yeah, they're going to put anesthesia, they're going to put you out. I'm like, okay, well, we're not going to put you all the way out. So I just kind of joked to the nurse. I says, let me tell you about when I had teeth pulled. I always tell my dentist, if I feel pain, you're going to feel it. And she says, well, you won't feel it. I says, well, I'm just letting you know. Well, when they got me
just to
into
cover
that
our bases here.
Yeah, so, I tell you, it was done at Menster Hospital. The staff, the nurses, everybody. It was so calm, and everybody was so nice. But I don't think they did it just because of what I had said. I think they do it because they don't want you moving your arms when you have surgery. but they put straps on your arms so you can't move, you know. But it went good, and then, you know, like usually when I walk down the middle aisle of Strax or somewhere when I'm shopping, I have to move real close to the left of the aisle to the items to see it better. I was walking down yesterday, Strax, in the middle, and I can see the item, the price. I was like, wow, you know. But my boss helped me install that program on my phone, that Lyft, where you get rides back and forth. Because Rick from the radio station took me to my surgery and took me back home, but yesterday I had to have that Lyft for the first time, and I didn't the lady that took me in the morning, it says you can leave a tip. I had to leave a tip because they told me to bring my blue bag with me with all that stuff that I have to do, and it fell out of my coat pocket in their back seat of their car, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh man, what do I do? It has my drops, it has everything in there. And about a half an hour later, she comes walking in, and I know she didn't have that patch on her eye like me, and I'm like, I think that's that lady that brought me. So she brought it, so I left a tip, but I don't understand. What the guy that brought me back explained it. Going there Tuesday morning, it cost me $27. But then when the guy picked me up from the same place, took me to the same place home, it was only $6. He says it depends on the hour, but it was pretty cool. You know, I mean, you know, I was sitting there, but you know, the thing about this world here around here, you know, it's like all this stuff going on. I was trying to watch news last night.
There's a lot of different things that were happening, especially last night, and we are going to talk about those later on.
Yeah, and then like, you know, the BP, you know, I was thinking if they're going to try, if Indiana or Hammond or Whiting going to get the Bears over here, why don't they just go ahead and tear down the BP refinery and put it there, since they don't want nobody to work there, you know?
Well, I don't know if the ground would be too good for that.
No, God. You know, you just think how long that refinery's been there.
It's been there for a while.
How contaminated and saturated that area is, you know. Mm-hmm. But, no, you know, you guys have a good day. I just want to talk about the lemon rice soup. You know, there's a lot of good places that have the lemon rice, you know. I mean, I'm one of these, either clam chowder or I eat soup, but mostly I like a salad, you know. And but I'm just gonna let y'all go, so you know everybody else can call in, chit chat before everything else happens. So everybody out there have a nice, good, safe day, and behave, and just behave.
There we go. All right, thank you so much for your call. Yeah, definitely. I don't know. I hope that BP kind of gets it together. BP was proposing an average wage increase of 13% or $7 an hour over the next 4 years, as well as bonuses of $2,500 to $10,000. And they said that we are seeking a 6-year term so that we can effectively implement the proposed changes. Delafranco says, you may hear union talk about BP corporate earnings, but like any business, every asset must stand on its own and be resilient under all market conditions. And BP has constantly demanded that the union accept concession without budgeting on any issues or providing requested information, such as who BP Refinery would be competing with on compensation structures, as it is the largest and most productive supplier of gas in the Midwest, Schultz said. Now, with this BP lockout, one thing that I kind of noticed, which is a little interesting, and I don't know if the two are connected, but here, let me put my little tinfoil hat on for a moment in time. The app Earnify is connected with a bunch of different gas stations, including BP. During I would say last year, maybe around last year in the summertime, so around this time again, maybe a little later on in the year, that the Earnify app was connected with BP. So if you went to any BP gas stations, you got 5 cents off the gallon. If you had a Prime membership, you got 10 cents off the gallon. Now, they had something called with Fridays. So every Friday you would get 20 cents off the gallon. But with these gas prices increasing and with the terms of when lockout did happen, that's when they're like, let's implement this again. 20 cents off the gallon on Friday since our gas prices are going up. So I don't know. I just kind of thought that was an interesting coincidence to happen with the two. Now, of course, that may not be hand in hand together, but I just found it quite funny that they started doing that once their prices got up, and especially with what is happening in with the Strait of Hormuz and everything like that. But union workers, they said they just want to return to work, but they are not willing to make significant concessions after the company posted a profit of $7.5 billion last year. This is what Schultz has said. They truly want to get back to the table. It's simple, and the lockout, and be willing to seriously negotiate a fair contract. But Schultz said instead they choose more camera time. We would once again urge British Petroleum to spend less time talking to the cameras and more time talking to our unions. So the story still continues on. This was 7 hours ago, and this story is on NWI Times. So we are going to be keeping an update on that, especially with hope. Let's just hope that they do return to the bargaining table. These workers do get in, because a lot of families are out of work at the moment in time. But we are going to take a break. It is about to be 7 a.m. in the region. You're listening to Adrianna in the AM on WJOB 1230 AM 104.7 FM in Hammond, Indiana. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
I'm Jerry Williams. For over 35 years, I protected Lake County as a state trooper and interim police chief of Gary. This is my home, and keeping our community safe has been my life's work. I've dedicated my career to fighting crime. Now I'm running for sheriff to get the job done and deliver real results. As a crime fighter, not a politician, I'd be honored to have your vote. Paid for by the committee to elect Jerry Williams for sheriff.
Hi, my name is John Patalis, and I am your Lake County Treasurer. Your Treasurer's Office is responsible for the collection of over $1 billion per year in money that belongs to you, the taxpayer. I am asking you for your support and vote on Tuesday, May 5, as I seek re-election to this very important financial office. For public service and not self-service, please remember me, John Patalis, for your Lake County Treasurer. Paid for by the committee to elect John Patalis.
State Senator Dan Darnell was supposed to be different. He promised to fight for Hoosier families and stand with President Trump. He failed. Darnell voted against President Trump's agenda in Washington. That hurt Hoosier families, and he voted to let a Chinese company buy Hoosier farmland, putting China before us. Dan Darnell, opposing Trump, voting like a liberal, letting us down. A disgrace.
President Trump has endorsed conservative Trevor DeVries for state senate, a real Republican who will fight for Hoosier values. Trevor DeVries will stand with Trump, protect Hoosier farmland from China, defeat the liberal agenda, and never let you down. A true America First conservative. The right choice for Indiana. Endorsed by Trump, Trevor DeVries for state senate. Election day is May 5th. Paid for by American Leadership PAC.
I've spent more than 2 decades protecting the people of Lake County as a patrol officer, canine handler, detective, and now chief of police. I know what it takes to keep our neighborhoods safe, support our local police departments, and hold the sheriff's office to the highest standards. As your sheriff, I'll focus on strong training, crime prevention, and real partnerships with the communities we serve. I'm Stephen Flores. I'm ready to be a working sheriff you can trust, and I approve this message.
morning, everyone. You are listening to Adrianna in the AM on WJOB 1230 AM 104.7 FM in Hammond, Indiana. And you're also watching live here on YouTube. So we are going to do some traffic and weather before we get into some of the national topics that we have here. And that is to tease that is for what happened at the congressional hearing yesterday with RFK Jr. But first, let's take a look at traffic in the Northwest region. Traffic is looking pretty good. 65 going north and south is looking good. 80 going east and west is looking good. 90 going east and west is looking good. We do got a disabled vehicle on the right shoulder of the Bishop Ford I-94 east at Stony Island Avenue. And that was updated and reported about a couple minutes ago. We also have an earlier police canvas. Can I click on that? Here we go. Maybe. Okay, let's see here. As my app starts to freak out. Here we are. On the Dan Ryan, we do have a earlier police canvas. Dan Ryan, I-94 east before Bishop Ford I-57 split. That was updated and reported about 5 minutes ago. Stop and go traffic. Expect delays up to 5 minutes. As you head into the city, you may see a little bit of stop and go traffic headed up east and west. Taking a look at, we're seeing on the Stevenson going, let's see here, going north and south, you're seeing a lot of stop and go traffic. Same thing with Eisenhower going east and west, with a bunch of stop and go traffic. As you're headed into the airport, traffic isn't too crazy. Maybe right as you hit into that Rosemont area, but other than that, traffic is looking pretty good. What we got for weather? How we looking?
Weather is looking very good today. It's going to be a high of 82 with a low of 62. It's going to be very warm with a few clouds, but mainly just a lot of sunshine. Friday, however, you're going to get some early morning showers as well as some thunderstorms later in the afternoon, but it will still be a high of 73 and a real feel of 71. As for the weekend, the rain will stop, but the temperature will drop all the way down to a high of 56 and a real feel of 59. It will just be partially cloudy. Sunday will be much of the same, although the temperature will go up slightly with a high of 68 and a real feel of 72. So there's your weather.
There we go. And then do we still got that one on the line?
We do.
All right, we'll take the phone call before we go into our topics. Good morning, caller. You are on the air. What's on your mind?
Have you seen any of the old Top Gun movies starring Tom Cruise?
Yes, I have.
What did you think?
Oh, I was always a fan of Top Gun. I actually recently showed I showed somebody Top Gun recently, and they were like in awe. They were like, "Oh my gosh, this is so cool!" I'm like, "Yeah, have you never seen Top Gun?"
Well, the good news is that I think I heard it on television that Tom Cruise is going to make Top Gun 3. So that's coming down the road. They didn't mention how long it'll be before it actually appears in the
I was
theaters,
pretty okay with how the second
not.
one ended, though. I was like, we're good.
But in any case, on top of that, there was a piece in the Times on April 16th, headline, AI rendered Kilmer debuts in a trailer. One of the main characters in the Top Gun series was played by Val Kilmer. And the first one, he played kind of the bad guy. He was the nemesis of Tom Cruise.
Yeah, he was Ice, right?
Ice, yes,
Iceman.
absolutely. And the conflict thing of who was the better aviator, who was a top gunner kind of thing. He passed away last year of pneumonia at 65, which is wow. It's
he was
awfully
pretty
young, but yeah, definitely, especially pneumonia. I mean, pneumonia seems to be more something that older people die of, like me. And in any case, this item says that he's going to appear in a movie called As Deep as the Grave, and it's going to be a AI rendered thing where it's not really him. I mean, it's going to the family, the Kilmer family, cooperated with the producers of the film and provided all kinds of pictures and so forth, so they could use so they could make a good production of Val Kilmer. He appears at different ages, type thing. So, do you have any feelings about the idea that to see a movie and it's all or in part AI produced, that the people what you're looking at is they're not really human beings?
Yeah. So, in my opinion, AI is going to just be around regardless if we like it or not. We've had a lot of discussions about AI here on this station, but for film and television purposes, I feel that as long as AI is not used for majority of the movie and or television show that you are watching, it's going to be put in regardless. I know that they would use AI for a lot of different things, especially in animation for voice actors if they have passed away. Instead of finding somebody similar that sounds almost identical, they will take different clips and AI them to make it their own actual voice. When it comes in things like that, I don't really mind it, but to AI like people into it, I feel I don't know if we're there quite just yet with AI. Maybe in the next year or two we will be, but for right now, I think I can kind of see that it is AI, but maybe it's just because I've been looking at it for so long that I'm like, yep, you could see the very, very slight difference here and slight difference here and slight difference here. But eventually we're not going to be able to tell, and we won't know until the movie comes out. They're like, oh, yeah, by the way, this was AI, and this was AI. So it's just a bunch of different little things here and there. But, yeah, I feel AI will always be there regardless if we like it or not.
Jed has an AI voice. If you were curious, we have one for Jed. We have an AI voice for Jed.
Ah.
Mm-hmm.
This both of you are young people, and
speak of the
yeah. There's been a little talk about an ongoing subject from time to time, and that is the idea of the restoration of the draft. And of course, highly likelihood that if the military draft is restored, that women will be subject to the draft as well. So, one, do either you have any opinions about the general issue of restoring a military draft? And two, how do you feel about the idea that women would be subject to the draft?
I feel we've been hearing a lot of talk about the draft maybe since I don't know. I think I keep hearing about it since 2019 because there was always that there of like, oh, we're going to go into World War III. We're going to go into World War III. They're like, yep, we're going to have to draft a bunch of people. And
Adrianna's going to volunteer.
You're going to see me in the trenches, Joe?
Yep.
I'll be like, oh my gosh, there you are.
Me, Adrianna, and Lynette are going to be in the trenches.
But it's a scary thing to think about, especially being in the age group of somebody that could be drafted into war and not knowing a darn thing about, like, and of course there's going to be a bunch of different places that you could be put in, but you hear draft and the first thing you think is that you're going on the front lines here, hand you a gun, here you go, walk. Like, that's this kind of the scary thing about it. And I feel that a lot of people our age kind of brush it off and they're like, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. And we rely on the fact that there is enough people in the current military at this point in time that there won't be a draft, but you never know. And especially with what's going on and how our people in office are currently acting, it's a little scary from time to time, but I don't know. It's just kind of a thought to add on to the other worries that we have of the world. Joe, what are your thoughts?
The young
I'm one of those people that are just refusing to believe that's going to happen and just not worrying about it.
Well, this is when I was young, I was subject to the draft. I was generally they drafted people from like 18 to 26 kind of thing, and
I believe that's still the age range right now.
I went to college right out of high school, and so I was not subject to the draft. If I had dropped out of school, they would probably send me a draft notice pretty quickly. But I stayed in college at Purdue, and in 1963, because I really big on following world events kind of thing, and it looked to me like the Kennedy Johnson administration was going to get us into big war in Indochina, and I came from a family where it was at least in those days, if you were an able-bodied male, that you were really kind of expected to serve in the military, especially in time of war.
And wasn't it that if you were the youngest son and like you had a couple older brothers, the youngest son was not expected to go?
Well, the only rule I'm aware of is if you were a surviving son, that you got an exemption there. But racing toward graduation, I thought to myself, well, you put a lot of effort into getting this degree. Do you really want to end up as an infantry guy in the Army? Because historically, the menfolk in my family, they were really proud infantrymen, and they served in the Army or Marine Corps. And I thought I could do better than that. And so I started talking to the recruiters that came through Purdue, Army, Navy, Air Force, and so forth. And I asked each of the recruiters one question: what are my chances for world travel? And they all said to me something along the lines of, well, once you've done your first tour of duty, it's wide open. There was only one other recruiter who said, if you go naval air, and especially if you go into the aircraft carrier Navy, I guarantee you will see the world. And
that was one thing I remember hearing from family members who did serve, that that was one of the things that they would tell them. They're like, oh, well, if you go, you're definitely going to see the world, and in a way that they did.
Well, that was one thing they didn't lie about, because I did go into the naval air business, and I traveled the world. And so there was to a degree certain appeals to Top Gun. And although I would say life in naval air was presented in a very kind of almost like a romantic image in the Hollywood version of naval air. It was a rather more. The reality is that it was a rather more serious environment, particularly the kind of squadron I was with. And but in any case, I was very typical. A lot of young males that rather than wait to be drafted and most likely sent into the Army infantry in a foxhole somewhere, that I could see the world, be involved with a kind of job that was more professional, and that once I completed my tour of duty, that in terms of looking for work as a civilian, that I have opportunities for better things to do as having been a naval officer. And I ended up leaving the Navy, and to a degree, hope was valid in that I had pretty good jobs in many ways, similar to what I did in the Navy, but a lot easier. That was a big shocker. I mean, I thought when I left the Navy and went into corporate America that it would be more challenging, it would be the profit-making operation, and so forth and so on. But the reality is, it was rather more easy. Mm-hmm. I was really astounded as to how easy it was for the money they paid. But that's the story I'm telling is if they restore the draft, I think there'll be a lot of young people faced with the same kind of questions that I was faced with. Mm-hmm. So,
oh yeah, most definitely. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you so much for calling in. Yeah, that is definitely one of the things that we are being told a little bit in the news, but we've been told that since about like 2019. And I think it's just one of those, we won't believe it until we see it. And also with the, what was it? The 8 Iranian women from execution. So how Iran responded to that in Trump's claim in the role of saving those 8 women from the execution. They were saying that he was citing a completely false news story, and he was kind of taking credit and overstating his achievements. And they were like, however, despite the false claim being revealed last night, Trump claimed in another post a few minutes ago that the sentence of 8 protesting women who were supposed to be executed in Iran tonight had been overturned, and he thanked Iran. The agency said a number of women who had already been released. The number of women had already been released, and some are facing charges that could result in prison, but not death. So I think that they had figured out a bunch of stuff before Trump came in with that, and he's just kind of taking credit for it. But again, I've seen that with our current president at the moment in time. And speaking of that, that comes into what we were talking about with the congressional hearing with RFK Jr. So do we want to take a break before that because we're end at 7:15, Joe, or do we want to keep going?
Yeah, let's do a break. Okay. That's a great call.
Yeah, I was like, it's up to you, but I was like, I don't know if we want to take a break before this last topic.
Almost like you used to be a producer.
Almost like I was doing your job. So we are going to take a break. You are listening to Adrianna in the AM on WJOB, 1230 AM, 104.7 FM in Hammond, Indiana, and you're also watching live here on YouTube. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
I'm Jerry Williams. For over 35 years, I protected Lake County as a state trooper and interim police chief of Gary. This is my home, and keeping our community safe has been my life's work. I've dedicated my career to fighting crime. Now I'm running for sheriff to get the job done and deliver real results. As a crime fighter, not a politician, I'd be honored to have your vote. Paid for by the committee to elect Jerry Williams for sheriff.
Hi, my name is John Patalis, and I am your Lake County Treasurer. Your Treasurer's Office is responsible for the collection of over $1 billion per year in money that belongs to you, the taxpayer. I am asking you for your support and vote on Tuesday, May 5, as I seek re-election to this very important financial office. For public service and not self-service, please remember me, John Patalis, for your Lake County Treasurer. Paid for by the committee to elect John Patalis.
I spent more than 2 decades protecting the people of Lake County as a patrol officer, canine handler, detective, and now chief of police. I know what it takes to keep our neighborhoods safe, support our local police departments, and hold the sheriff's office to the highest standards. As your sheriff, I'll focus on strong training, crime prevention, and real partnerships with the communities we serve. I'm Stephen Flores. I'm ready to be a working sheriff you can trust, and I approve this message.
This is National Work Zone Awareness Week.
I'm a victim of being ran over by a semi while I was flagging. The person wasn't paying attention and they hit me with their vehicle.
I seen a accident where we were the first people to walk up, and that picture will never leave my mind.
I've seen people get hit before. It's been horrible.
Construction zones on roadways and bridges are more than just cones and equipment. They're the workplace for thousands of dedicated union laborers.
Everybody has a family that they need to get back home to, so please just pay attention to us out here while we're working.
We all have family, and I know it's a pain in the ass, but we're trying to make the roads better for y'all.
We're doing this for everyone.
We're hardworking Hoosiers, just like you, and we all want to make it home safely.
People would just take a couple seconds to pay attention.
Be aware of where we're at, where the cone zones are at. We're all in this together, and we're all just trying to be safe.
This is Brian Short, Business Manager for the Indiana Laborers District Council. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
Good morning, everyone. You're listening to Adrianna in the AM on WJOB, 1230 AM, 104.7 FM in Hammond, Indiana. And you're also watching live here on YouTube. We're going to do a quick traffic and weather update. We got about 20 minutes left, and then we have North Township trustees coming up, as well as our political interviews with Jason Gore and Steve Flores. And make sure I don't switch up the names. And then we have Lynn Walkers later on today. No Mastering Local Marketing, but don't worry. If you are looking for those episodes, you can go on our podcast network as well as our YouTube. So let's take a look at traffic. Currently, traffic in the Northwest region is looking pretty good. 65 going north and south is looking good. 80 going east and west. 90 going east and west is looking pretty good. We do have a disabled vehicle on the right shoulder on the Bishop Ford. I-94 east at US 6. 159th Street, exit 73. It doesn't seem to be causing any major traffic issues. And we also still have a disabled vehicle on the right shoulder. The Bishop Ford I-94 East at Stony Island Avenue, exit 65. That doesn't seem to be causing any major traffic. We do got a bit of traffic at the connector of the Bishop Ford and Dan Ryan going west right there at I-57 South, and then on the Bishop Ford going north, and that's due to that earlier police canvass that had occurred. And then moving up further into the city, you're going to see a bit of heavy traffic downtown on 94 going west, and then all the way up you will have some trouble on 90 going east and west. We do have a disabled vehicle on the right shoulder on the Kennedy I-90-94 east at Illinois 64 North Avenue, exit 48B, and that is causing some significant traffic in that area. Eisenhower going east and west is looking pretty heavy in traffic, as well as Stevenson going north and south. That's all for your traffic and weather. Oh, not weather. Joe, how's the weather? The weather will happen momentarily once the microphones start working.
We just talked about how it was broken, and then it started to work.
Yeah, but then it doesn't work in your favor.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyways, it is Thursday, and it is going to be a high of 82 with a low of 62. It's going to be a really nice day, just a few clouds, but a lot of sunshine all day today. Friday, the weather will start to hit for us. We'll get some showers early in the morning and then some thunderstorms later in the afternoon. It will still be relatively warm, though, with a high of 73 and a real feel of 71. As the weekend starts, the rain will stop, but the weather will drop with a high of That kind of rhymed it. With a high of 56 and a real feel of 59. It's going to be sunny and partially cloudy, and then Sunday it's going to be much of the same. The weather will jump about 10 degrees, though, with a high of 68 and a real feel of 72. So enjoy.
There we go. All right. So yesterday they were reporting on this, but this has been happening for a couple days now. RFK Jr. Congressional Hearing, House Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Was getting grilled for a good amount of time, and this is due to different things in those aspects of the federal government heavily debating and implementing significant cuts to health and medical programs, the different cases of the measles happening in the United States, as well as him defending himself being not being anti-vaxxer, but then also claiming a bunch of different things within the recent years of him saying that vaccines aren't any good, and as well as defending Trump's frequent incorrect calculation percentages when they talk about certain things. Now, if you guys don't remember, we talked about this earlier in January about the childhood vaccine schedules, and just to kind of do a recap on that, he had cut the childhood vaccine schedules on January 5th. CDC announced that it was no longer universally recommending several vaccines for all children. Not that does not mean that the vaccines go away. That just means that they do it in 3 stages: vaccines that are recommended for all kids, for certain then certain high-risk groups, and then fall into the category that are shared clinical decision-making between the parents and the physician. And this is what kind of moved out in that area and kind of moved around, which was influenza, rotavirus, RSV, hepatitis A, B, and meningitis. Now, the flu hospitalizations were at an all-time high when we were talking about this earlier in the year, and it was between 50,000 and 70,000 kids were hospitalized with rotavirus before the vaccine. Hepatitis B was serious for babies, have a 90% chance of developing chronic infections, and about 20,000 people got hepatitis B every year before the universal vaccine. Now, this decision was criticized by the CDC, and they said that they were blindsided as the childhood vaccine schedule is unilaterally overhauled. Medical experts across the country state that they do not like the new schedule of vaccines put out by the administration. So this was earlier in the year. So let's flash forward to what was going on yesterday as they were reporting. So as of 2026, federal government is heavily debating and implementing significant cuts to health and medical programs. And this is proposed reductions to the Department of Health and Human Services and also the budget of Medicare and Medicaid. So the Trump administration has proposed a budget for the year 2027, and that seeks a 12.5 decrease, which is roughly around $15.8 billion to be cut. Now, there's a bunch of different things that they were saying that are not going to get as much funding, and that is different programs, nearly $1 billion proposed for targeting obesity, health disease, diabetes, and Alzheimer's. HIV and AIDS, infectious disease, will receive significant funding reductions. Immunizations, STI programs, and that is hepatitis, STI, and TB will be reduced. Environmental health, elimination for programs focusing on lead poisoning monitoring, environmental health labs, as well as preventative health funds, proposed eliminations for prevention and public health funds, which are funded with various CDC activities. So that is one of the main things that they were talking about. And another thing that they were talking about is is the measles cases that are happening in the United States. And as of April 16th, 2026, 1,748 were confirmed cases of the measles. For the full year of 2025, there was a total of 2,288 cases confirmed that were reported in the United States. And a lot of these are the significant amount of these are between the ages of 5 and 19 years old. The second leading are 20 and up. Third leading is 5 and under, and then, of course, some of the statistics, they do not have the age known for these individuals. Now, the vaccination status are 92% are unvaccinated. 4% of those have one dose of the vaccine, and another 4% have 2 doses of the vaccine. So this was what they were kind of grilling him the most on. And it was the measles epidemic, which began last year in Texas. And this had killed 3 Americans, first deaths from the disease in a decade. And this was a very big issue with everybody kind of attacking him on this. They said that he repeatedly defended his handling of it, but appeared to back further and further away from his past criticism of the measles vaccine. When it broke out in Texas last year, he did not recommend vaccination, and he said it should be a personal choice. Last year, he asked if he would advise parents to vaccinate newborns, and he said that it was not up to him to provide medical advice, and his advice, he said, do your own research. He also insisted that hygiene and sanitation, not vaccinations, that's what is responsible for the drop of deaths from infectious diseases during the 20th century. And he cited a study that was from 2000, and that was kind of his proof in that leading factor. He was called out that he cited that out of context, but he just kept deflecting, of course, for it. And him being the health secretary, saying that he will not provide people to medical advice for them, but you are in charge of the overall health of our country. So what are you doing? I don't really understand why he's kind of going back and forth on this, and honestly just feels like he's saving face at this point in time for it. And people are asking him to resign because of this, as well as he has been defending our president's frequent incorrect calculations of percentage of when they are talking about discounts on certain prescription drugs. And they were arguing on Wednesday that the president has a different way of calculating things. Now, I know we have this new math going on, but I didn't think it was that new that these are way out of line. Now, and it's just to over accentuate the achievements that this man has done as what he is claiming to do. And it's basically, he's like, yeah, well, he said that if you have a $600 drug and you reduce it to 10%, that's a 600% reduction. That's what he was saying. And he said during the congressional hearing, and we have a caller, okay. And during that congressional hearing, and I'm like, okay, I'm not that great at math, but I pretty much know that that is a 98% reduction. It is still good, and I'm not saying that that's not a bad thing, but cite it correctly. Don't try to over-accentuate and then also be completely and utterly wrong with your math. As well as that, if you look at the Trump RX website that they promote for cheaper drugs, they offer prescription drugs at discounts of 400 to 1,500% off. At that point, it is that the companies are paying you to take the drugs. So with all of this and the going back and forth, and the Congression basically saying that he does not care about the different he does not care about the people in the world, and especially the children, that they are continuously in risk. They are continually at risk because of him and the different vaccination protocols. They are asking for his resignation. U.S. Representative Haley Stevens passed her case for impeachment of RFK Jr. as well as other representatives, saying that he should step down and resign. And this has been going on for a while now, and the numbers just keep going up with all of these diseases that we thought we eradicated, and or that we're seeing a lot of decline in that, but that doesn't mean that the vaccine should just go away. In my personal opinion, if they are preventing a greater cause, why don't we get them at that point in time? But we do have a caller, so we are going to take that caller. I was just kind of waiting for Joe to come back. So good morning, caller. You are on the air. What is on your mind? What are your thoughts on this whole thing going on with the congressional hearing and RFK Jr.?
Well, everything I've heard about this over the last 15, 20 years, how about some common sense involved in this? One of the things that came out a while back that I've heard was that I think, in fact, Robert Kennedy touched on this on his book about the whole medical industry. But anyway, it seemed like one of the big problems is that a lot of these children that are vaccinated at such an early age, their immune system has not had a chance to fully develop. When you're born, the human beings take years to actually develop all of their different faculties in their body. Mm-hmm. That's why children that can't vote until they're 18 years old, cognitively, you've got to be able to develop. Same thing with the physical side. You've got to be able to have your body develop. And one of the big problems they found was that children that were vaccinated before the age of 3, I think it was, we're not just talking about 1 or 2 vaccines. The schedule they got right now, you just load them up right off the bat, and their immune systems could not handle all of the stress they were put under, and you wind up with a collapse of the immune system, or you wind up with a runaway immune system, and you wind up with autoimmune diseases, and the autism rates right now are off the charts. They've just skyrocketed since this massive vaccine program started, 15, 20 years ago. When I was a kid, I think we might have gotten in our whole, by the time we were adults, we might have gotten 3 or 4 vaccines. Now it's the schedule is like massive, and there's a profit motive in this thing. The vaccine companies just love it because of the amount of money they're making on this. And is there really a reason why young girls all need to get vaccinated for things that are usually only people who are susceptible to some of these diseases, where people are on drugs or involved with prostitution? It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Okay, so there was one thing that you did say. I wanted to just backtrack because I was unsure of what you meant on this one. You were speaking about the different levels of autism that have risen. You feel that is due to vaccinations?
There seems to be a lot of evidence in that regard that it's been correlated almost directly with the amount of vaccines given out to young children, the amount of autism that we're seeing in the country now. I forget what the numbers are exactly, but it's shocking that the rate of autism we're seeing in young children these days. You never saw this decades ago. And what's the commonality here? It seems to be the amount of vaccine these kids are getting. How about some just common sense? I mean, if I take a dog or a cat to a vet and they're past a certain age, a lot of veterinarians will not advise you to massively dose them with all kind of vaccines. They'll want you to use some, be a little more judicious about how much you give them. But yet, when children, we just load them up, man. I mean, I have no idea the amount of different vaccines kids are given these days, but it seems like a thing in Western medicine. If there's a profit in it, go for it. If in Western medicine, the philosophy is, throw enough on a wall, maybe something will stick. And this is directly against Eastern medicine and against what we used to practice in other Western countries, is to be a little more judicious about what we're doing here. It's just common sense. You don't just give people 15, 20 different vaccines for different things. Eventually, what happens is the immune system either goes in a hyperdrive because of the overstimulation, and you wind up with things like MS, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, or it collapses and you wind up with cancers. It just doesn't seem to. You're overstressing the immune system. If you do that to any other part of your body, you will develop injuries.
Well, that is one thing I might have to disagree with you on, because there is no link to autism being caused by vaccinations, and autism is actually caused by the genetics of it, and the basically just the it is, I'm trying to remember, but it has something to do with the genetic mutation of it, and that is what is caused by autism. But autism is not caused by vaccinations. And also, yes, there at a very young age, I do agree with you that there are a lot of different vaccines that these young children are given, but you are able to space them out. They don't have to just give them all at once, and that kind of like you said, it does put stress on the body. It allows the body to heal, let the medicine kind of go through, and people have their different opinions on it. Some of them, they put all the vaccines all at one time, and then some people space them out in a couple of months to make sure that the medicine kind of has a way of circulating through the body to make sure that it gets through and everything. And some people just feel that is just a peace of mind thing. Some people feel it doesn't really matter, they're all going to go in at once. But the vaccination, especially, this is what we're told by are governed by the CDC, and we've been told this for many years, that the vaccinations that we are provided for these children are to prevent a lot of different things. And it's with some of these medications, and I was talking with somebody yesterday about the COVID vaccine, and they were saying, oh, the COVID vaccine doesn't really do anything. So COVID vaccine doesn't really do anything. Why are we getting the COVID vaccine? And it's just to prevent a greater risk factor. Yes, you could still get some of these diseases, but you could still you can prevent it from happening at a major scale. But I do want to say thank you for your call. We do have to wrap it up here. I'm being so like, let's go. We are going to end it here. Thank you guys so much for listening. We will be back next month, I believe May 14th, with this show. But for right now, you are listening to Adrianna in the AM on WJOB 1230 AM 104.7 FM in Hammond, Indiana.